Hi folks, so it's the day after Mother's Day. You might have the unlikely event that you've got a little bit of leftover lamb. Then I thought I'll just show you something pretty quick but pretty cool to do with your leftover lamb. Now if you sort of left with 200 or 300 grams, I've got this much left. Probably got maybe 200 to 300 grams worth of leftover lamb there. Probably not enough to make a decent curry. So I'm going to do like a bit of a Middle Eastern inspired spread for us. So hopefully create a really nice kind of North African inspired spread for, make a lovely tea. So we've got our lamb here. I'm just going to put it into a nice sort of cast iron casserole dish. It's only a small one, we haven't got a huge amount here, but hopefully with everything else it'll be enough for a really nice kind of family dinner on a Monday evening, something like that. So we've got our lamb there, we've preheated our oven to 180. So we've got our lamb in there. We're just going to jazz it up a little bit. We're just going to put some, again, this is nothing culinary about this, it just tastes really nice and it's really easy. So we're going to put maybe half a pepper just on the top like that. This is all going to go in the oven at once. We're going to do a half an onion. It doesn't have to be perfectly cut. That's going to go in the pan as well. Drizzle of decent olive oil on the top. A good dust of cumin on the top. Bit of salt and pepper. And then we're just going to squeeze a little bit of lemon in the top as well. So we're just going to put it in like that. It could be in an oven tray or anything you like really. We're going to put it in for about 25 minutes. So while that's cooking and reheating, we're going to make everything else to go with it. So 25 minutes, half an hour, 180 degrees, leftover lamb, bung it in there and we'll get everything else done. So our lamb's in the oven. We're going to make some really, really easy, really tasty flatbreads to go with that. We're also going to make a few sort of dips and things to go with it and a really kind of interesting warm chickpea salad to go with it as well. So flatbreads, really, really easy. 200 grams of self-raising flour. Got 200 grams of natural Yorkshire yogurt. That's going to go in there as well. Just do it to bowl. Really, 4 or 5 ingredients and it's really, really simple. Again, decent olive oil in there. A little glug, maybe a tablespoon, something like that. Good pinch of salt. And to make it a bit interesting, we've got 2 teaspoons of mixed sesame seeds. So we've got some black and some white in there. Now you can flavour that however you want. You can put a little bit of cumin, you can put some chili flakes, you could put some za'atar in there, you could put some sumac. There's all sorts of things you can put in there. You could use the same base recipe and you can put some Indian spices in there. You can even keep them plain and just sort of use them in school lunches and things like that. So it's really, really basic. So we're going to give that a good stir. It will feel a little bit sticky at first, but if you just do most of the work with a wooden spoon, and before you get your hands in, it should stop them getting too sticky. So we'll get rid of that, tip it out onto our surface here, give it a little knead like that till it comes together. It's really soft without being really sticky, so we're not trying to work the bread too much like normal bread. If it feels a little bit too sticky to work with, you just simply dust the surface a little bit. But that is all it takes, so we're just going to get that. So we'll leave that 5 or 10 minutes back in the bowl we started it, wipe your surface down, and then we can make some flatbreads. Right, so flatbread dough's just chilling for a bit, just resting. So we're going to get some chickpeas on the go for a really sort of warm, interesting chickpea salad. So to start with, we've just got a can of chickpeas, drained, put them straight into a bowl. Chickpeas are great, loads of protein in there, really good bulk, loads of flavour, go really well with Middle Eastern stuff, and really, really nicely with lamb. So they've just gone into a bowl. We're going to hit them with a good glug of olive oil. And then again, a really good seasoning. Just check you can, sometimes they come in salted water, sometimes they don't. So these ones haven't come in salted water, so we just want to season them slightly. Again, a bit more cumin in there. Good twist of pepper. That's pepper, if you're from Yorkshire. And then we're going to put a pinch of sumac in there. Now sumac is a Middle Eastern spice which comes from dried berries. Just going to toss those chickpeas in that oily, salty mixture there. They're going to go into a pan as flat as you can. Don't wash your bowl because we're going to make the rest of the salad in that. And they're just going to go in the oven with your lamb. So while your lamb's cooking, they can be heating up. Some will go crispy around the edge, some will go a little bit chewy, and some will just sort of start to warm through. So we're going to put that in the oven for about 15 or 20 minutes. So, in our bowl, we're just going to take our bowl our chickpeas are in. Still got some oil and some chickpea water in there. We're just going to peel a carrot all the way down. Just keep peeling it. I've peeled the skin off already. So I'm just going to peel and peel and peel and peel until there's no carrot left. We want a nice squeeze of lemon juice in there. We want a good pinch of chopped coriander. A little bit more salt. A bit more olive oil. And then that can just sit to the side, so when your chickpeas are ready, they're just going to go straight into the oven, nice and warm. Give it a good toss, and then that's going to be one of our salads to serve on the side. That can sit there. Just flour your work surface. The only raising agent in there is self-raising flour. You can see it's started to sort of bubble up a little bit. So we're just going to flatten it out. We're going to cut it into 4 bits. We're going to make 4 nice big flatbreads with it. Kind of looks a bit like scone dough. We're just going to roll it out ever so slightly. Bit of flour on your rolling pin as well. And just roll it out, quite rustic really. We don't need to be particularly neat with these, but try to get it quite flat. Again, it's not round, but just straight into a hot pan. We'll let those cook away while we keep rolling the next one. Just dry fry them for maybe a minute each side. They'll start to puff up. I'll try and get this one a bit rounder so you don't lose respect for me. These can just roll. These can be cooking away while everything else is cooking. Again, really, really easy. There's no messing around with yeast or anything like that. So we've got 3 more there. And they're just great. You can sort of fry them in a little bit of garlic butter if you want to sort of turn them into a bit of a naan bread type situation. So these are our flatbreads, dry pan. As you can see, they're really, really cool. So they're starting to brown up. I'm going to turn that one over. And then we're just going to cook it on the other side. It'll start to blister. Nice hot pan, no oil, just brown them off. When they're done, we're just going to roll them in tin foil, keep it somewhere warm on top of your oven or next to it. And they're just going to stay nice and warm. We're going to serve those without Middle Eastern feast. Right, so next step, our flatbreads. As you can see, we're kind of halfway through those. Our lamb's been in about 15, maybe 17 minutes. Our chickpeas are in cooking away. We've started our salad. Next up, we're going to do a couple of really quick and really easy dips. So, I made, disclaimer, I'm not going to make the hummus in front of you. I made it last night. Really, really easy, basic sort of chickpea puree. Can of chickpeas, drained, bring them to the boil with a clove of garlic, simmer them for 5 minutes. Blend them with some of the chickpea water that they're boiling in, touch of olive oil, squeeze of lemon, salt, pepper, easy peasy. So what we end up with is a really smooth, really kind of creamy hummus. But we're just going to put that in the middle like that. Again, I quite like to do that if you were to get hummus in a nice sort of Persian restaurant or something like that. I tend to make it look really smart and kind of raised at the sides. And I'm going to put some pomegranate seeds on the top. Now, I've done these earlier because they make a right mess, but if you hold it like that with your fingers apart and then you just bash it like that with the back of a knife and all the seeds just fall out. But it makes a hell of a mess. You get pomegranate juice everywhere. So for me, I've done it earlier. So I'm just going to put some pomegranate seeds on the top of our hummus here. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of cumin just because I like it. Cumin and lamb are like best mates as well. And then a little bit of olive oil on the top just so it all runs into the middle. And and then a bit more of that fresh coriander. Lamb's been in about 20 minutes, hummus took about 3 minutes. Obviously, you can make it the day before, absolutely perfect. You can make your flatbreads the day before if you wanted to. So we've got some nice yogurt here. So this is a Yorkshire yogurt, really good, really nice and creamy. Use any Greek style yogurt will work. Just going to spoon that into a bowl. I like to put it into a nice flat bowl, because then you can sort of get a bit of everything. Yogurt, you don't want to do too much to it, just move it around slightly like that. We're just going to sort of season it really. So we've got some of that really nice bright red sumac on there. We've got a little pinch of turmeric. So again, keeping with the Middle Eastern vibes. We've got some harissa paste here. So we're just going to give it a stir and just let a few sort of drops fall in amongst the yogurt. So you get this really cooling, nice creamy thing, but you've got some nice sort of chili. Just swirl that around slightly. We've got here some tiny little rosebuds. You can get these at most sort of continental supermarkets. So we're just going to really nice sort of just, you don't want the bud itself, you just want a few little rose petals on top. Just sprinkle those on. They do have that sort of Middle Eastern rosy flavour, as you can imagine. So right, last thing, so we've got our yogurts done, our hummus is there, chickpea salad's almost done, flatbreads, lamb's in. We're racing now, honestly, I feel like I can do anything. So we've got some tomatoes, we're just going to cut the core off. If my mum finds a core of a tomato in anything, be it a sandwich or a salad or anything like that, she'll never speak to you ever again. She's disgusted when she finds the core of a tomato. So we're just going to slice these up. These are just standard vine tomatoes. You could use a mixture of heritage tomatoes, you could do cherry tomatoes, beef, whatever you want really. The tomatoes there just to add a little bit of freshness. So we're just going to slice them up. Nothing particularly clever about this. It's just a really quick fresh tomato salad. A little bit of onion, not a huge amount, just to give it a little bit of heat, a little bit of crunch. We're just going to really quickly dice that. Tiny bit of diced onion there, not a huge amount. We want it to be a tomato salad, not an onion salad. So, I'm going to get that into a bowl. Plenty of salt. I think salt is a tomato's best friend. Really good twisted pepper. Plug of olive oil. And we're just going to keep the Middle Eastern vibes going with a tiny, tiny pinch of cumin. I put coriander and everything else, so I'm not going to bother with it in this. But we're just going to do really fresh, really lightly dressed tomatoes there. Right, so we're there, 25 minutes. So that's our lamb, as you can see. So we're just going to finish that with a tiny squeeze of lemon. That's done, tomato salad's done, yogurt's done, hummus is done. Our chickpeas started to colour nicely. You can see there, some are brown, some are crunchy. They can go in with my carrots. So our chickpeas are here. Give those a toss with those carrots. Remember there's lemon juice, olive oil, loads of stuff in there. Into a bowl. That's going to form the final part of our most amazing Moroccan feast.